What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Around the Paddock. We're your boys, Seb and Nico, and you know the drill. We've got your paddock pass to all things F1 from this past week. Now, Nico, obviously not as an eventful week as what we had last week, but there's still a lot of stuff to cover that we saw this week in F1. So I'm just going to hop right to the formation lap, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, perfect. Let's go.
So the first thing was Max Verstappen signs that big paycheck contract and staying in Red Bull until the end of 2028 now. So it's a 5-year contract. And what I saw was it's around 280 million euros total. So between 40 and 50 million euros per year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no. The man, the current champion right now is cashing it big. It actually makes him the joint highest paid driver alongside Lewis Hamilton. And so, actually, I saw that it might put him close to it. Like they might not have released the full figures yet. Although I saw that, now this is on Reddit, you got to take it with a little bit of grain of salt, but apparently it's the biggest contract in F1 history. But it does also kind of put him joint highest paid alongside Lewis.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's joint highest paid per year because if it's the biggest contract.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
But a 5-year, 280 million contract, like you don't really see 5-year contracts, you know?
No, I think Leclerc's the only other one with a 5-year contract, eh?
Yeah. So that's why the biggest in that sense, I guess, the longest and most money.
Yeah, I think it's the most money in like total set aside. No, I mean, good for him. He definitely deserves it after the last year that he gave where he won the championship, obviously, and the last 2 years before that, which he had been slowly like fighting up, and it would have been champion had the car been better. No, good for Max Verstappen, honestly. It's a fantastic that he got the contract. And 50 million euro is insane.
A lot of money. I wonder what the gas prices are like in Monaco then. He might need maybe an extra 10 million or so. If you're in Canada right now, you know, well, and in most of the world, I guess it's a supply chain. But if you're in Canada right now, you know what I'm talking about. Specifically Ontario. Shouts out Ontario.
No, yeah, it's definitely going to be you're definitely going to need that money for the for how the oil prices are going and for the food prices as well, especially in Europe. I got to imagine more than Canada.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to kind of delve too much into that, but you are right. Like I think it's well deserved for sure. The current champion.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, I also saw. So take this in. The end of 2028. So Max Verstappen is going to be 31 by the time he finishes his contract. When he finishes his contract, he'll be 14 years in F1 at 31 years old, right? I remember reading somewhere that the 96 champion, which was Damon Hill, he
should probably go
waiting.
Ask
Vettel. Yeah, I know. I was just thinking that. I'm going to text Vettel right now. But Damon Hill was around 31, 32 when he got his F1 seat.
Damn.
And Max at the end of this contract is going to be younger. So
well, he's the youngest of all time, eh? To enter F1, I think.
Yeah.
No, it's no surprise. I'm sure that he's going to be like a Raikkonen-like character. He's going to be an F1 basically his entire career. He's going to break all of the records for.
I think so for tenure and stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he definitely has the. I think he can easily just take the record and hold it forever, considering the new regulations around F1. And he definitely has the talent to stay around for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I think he started when he was 17, right? So if anybody wants to try to beat his record, they got to start when they're 16, and then hopefully have as long as career as I hope that Max is able to have, like multiple 5-year contracts. Let's go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially if he has if he has the next like 5 years being as good as Hamilton's 5 for the last few years, not 5, have been. Yeah, like it would not shock me if he had a fantastic set of 5 years that he's going to just have another 5-year contract waiting for him.
No, yeah, it's true. And the longevity of somebody like Kimi Räikkönen, who retired last year but was 41, I believe, 41, 42. Yeah. Or Alonso, who's 40 right now and still racing. So yeah. It's a big deal, big news this week, but good for you, Max. If you happen to be listening, good for you.
Absolutely.
But so we'll move on to the second topic, and I know that's a topic that you you have a lot of notes, you have a lot of thoughts about, so I'll let you
Yeah.
introduce it.
Yeah, it's the potential of having the Andretti F1 team join F1 as a potential 11th team, or potentially even to buy out Haas.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a possibility. I mean, now I guess I
Yeah,
can see it, but
yeah. So what I'd prefer personally is if they became the 11th new team.
yeah,
Of course, Andretti is a massive car race team over in the United States. I think it's what NASCAR. Yeah,
maybe I know they're in Indy.
no, Indy. It's
Yeah,
IndyCar. Yeah,
that's where
you're right.
Roman
Uh,
Grosjean is driving for. That's who Roman Grosjean is
yeah,
driving for.
yeah. Shouts out to Roman.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Shouts out to
I hope he,
Grosjean.
yeah, yeah. I hope he's doing really well. Well, it seems like he's doing really well. But yeah, Andretti is potentially going to be the 11th new, potential 11th new F1 team. Um, if that happens, they would have a lot of expertise. It's not some random team coming in. It's a team with a lot of experience with race cars, and IndyCar is definitely a difficult challenge. But
Yeah.
yeah, they were supposedly this came out as a leak. I believe it's the Andretti team kept asking Gunther to buy out the team over and over and over again.
Oh, really? Like
Yeah.
recent
It's
or for a while now?
for a while now. Like I'm gonna. This is not accurate numbers, but it's like it would be like every month or like every few months. Gunther would get an email from someone in the Andretti team being like, "So sell team maybe?" I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's okay. That's kind of interesting. See, I didn't know that. I know Andretti, the whole Andretti racing team is like you said. They're huge, especially in the States. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of resources,
yeah,
so they can definitely afford the 200 million buy-in. Just take that in,
of
two
course.
hundred million euros, I believe, just to buy
Yeah.
in to have the opportunity to be a team. Like, I mean, it is definitely a rich boy sport. We
Absolutely,
can't
yeah.
get around that. But
No, yeah. It's clear from the sponsors. Like, I don't see what's it called, Rolex, like sponsoring. I don't know, no hate against it, but like horseshoe, right? It's definitely a rich man sport.
damn,
Uh,
hopefully none of our audience plays horseshoe and takes offense to that.
here, I'll reset it. Archery, because I am an archer. I do enjoy archery. So
Okay. Well, no,
if I get hate,
I'm
it's
just
from
joking. So
no, yeah. But also, I think Andretti was also looking into buying Sauber, which became Alfa Romeo.
Oh yeah.
I do remember that news.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised. So they have been actually looking at this for a while. It's not a recent development.
So I know, like, if Andretti joins as a
Yeah.
new 11th team, like, do you think that's going to be good or bad? Because I know that price money could be diluted further between the teams, right? Since it's like spread out, depending
Yeah.
on where you finish. I am guessing that there could be, some smaller budget teams that might not be as big a fan of that if they rely a lot on the price money. But what do you kind of
You know,
think of that? Like,
I actually don't think that's as big as an issue now. I might be entirely wrong. I don't think that's a big of an issue now
well,
that
there's
they
a
have the
budget cap.
price caps.
Yeah, there's a budget cap.
Exactly, right? When there wasn't a budget cap, I could see definitely teams being more annoyed that there was a new team coming in because the total amount of money they would have would be diluted, but it's already being artificially restricted. So if it dilutes it, right, I'm sure the teams will be able to bring up more money from sponsors, even if the capital from the Formula One is being reduced. So on that aspect, I actually don't think it would be that big of an issue. I can understand it being a bigger issue for competitiveness. Like obviously, teams want to have a good sport, but like they don't want to have the risk of like uh just like being absolutely like dominated by a new team or having new or different competition. So I can definitely see why some teams would be opposed to it in that term. For example, I know that Mercedes, Aston Martin, and Alfa Romeo don't want a new team in F1,
Yeah,
whereas McLaren, Alpine, and Williams do, with the rest being neutral to some level in the spectrum.
yeah.
So I could see it that way. Maybe they don't want it, but I definitely, in the terms of prize money, I don't think it's a big deal now that they have the prize caps.
Yeah, well, I mean, since you mentioned that, that's kind of interesting, I guess, that Mercedes especially wouldn't want a new team coming in. I know a lot of the talking points that like Toto and Mercedes in general have is, they enjoy the competition. They want to be open. They want to be challenged so that they can improve. So it just strikes me as a little bit odd that they're just one of the teams that don't support a new team.
Yeah, but again, I think because I know Toto wants is all about the sport he really likes. F1 is a sport he said that at least in a few times on some interviews. But this is Mercedes, the institution, the Mercedes F1 institution, not so much Toto. And I'm sure as a corporation, they might not want it, even if specific individuals within the team might.
No, sure. And I mean, I say Toto just because he's the team principal. He's the face of the team, right?
Absolutely, right.
But still, I don't see why they wouldn't want a new team, right? Like, it's just a why. I mean, I'm not asking you because are you working for Mercedes now?
I might be.
Yeah. Well, if you are, you can send me a note. But I'm just wondering, like, what's the logic behind not wanting more competition?
No, yeah. I mean, as a fan, I'm all for more competition. I'm for I'm for more racers that have more opportunity. But
well, that's it too, right? Like, there's so many good drivers that are in F2 and in other categories like Formula E, that deserve a shot at an F1 seat. It's 10 teams is too little.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But okay, well, so those are the big two topics that I guess we found for this last week. But now let's hop onto the main race topic, which given the fact that there's no testing, there's no Grand Prix, no racing, we figured for a lot of our audience that might be listening in that is kind of getting into F1 or might not know so much about F1, shouts out you guys. We figured we would just kind of do a word association game for the teams and the drivers, just so that you guys can sort of see what the teams are, who's driving for which team, and kind of just have a word association game to see so that what we think of these drivers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Nico, I don't know what the word associations that you picked. You don't know what I picked. So we're going to kind of listen to it for the first time for each other.
And just so everyone doesn't get confused, how we're going to do it is we're going to go team by team. And then within every team, we're going to do the two racers. So, for example, the first one, just to start it off, will be Mercedes, with the two racers being Lewis Hamilton and then George Russell. And we'll go on from there.
All right. So get her going, Nico. Give us Mercedes.
Okay. So people might be a bit disappointed, Actually, if you've been listening to the podcast, I think you know my opinion on Mercedes. It's boring. My word association for Mercedes is boring.
Okay, I didn't expect that.
Fair. The reason I say that is just because they've been the champions. I expect them to be the champions. I expect them to win. So watching them play is the exact same feeling I get when I watch the Premier League, for example. Right? Okay. When I'm watching higher level teams play against like lower level teams.
Yep.
Right. If I watch Liverpool play like the FA Cup versus let me think.
Just like Swansea, a smaller right? team. Yeah, right. Like,
exactly. I expect Liverpool to win, right? It's always a surprise when it doesn't happen. But so when I think of Mercedes, it's boring, right? I see them, I'm just like, they're gonna win.
It's funny that you mentioned that because the word I picked for Mercedes, it's kind of along the same spectrum, but domination. Just like you say, I think they've won every constructor championship in the turbo hybrid era since 2014. So they win a lot. They're the guys you want to see lose or get knocked down a peg or two.
Yeah.
But so all right, give me your drivers then, your Mercedes drivers. So who do you want to start with?
For Lewis, I think this one's the easiest. This is the one that as soon as I saw, I knew what the word was, which is GOAT, the greatest of all time. Yes, it's a compound word. Okay, it's not a compound word.
I count it. I mean, it's together,
but it's GOAT, the greatest of all time. He is definitely, unequivocally, the best racer, at least
statistically. Right?
Statistically, yeah, I think statistically, you've done the data analytics for F1. I think it came out that he was the best. There's really no denying it. He's been the most dominant racer, even including last year. Even though he didn't win, he was there. He was always fighting.
Agreed. Yeah, for Lewis Hamilton, I picked Superstar. It's a little bit, I guess, tamer compared to yours, but I think he is one of those drivers. I mean, I think right now he's the only driver that really transcends F1, right? Like, he's known, I think recognized even just beyond his driving, but that's because of his driving,
Yeah, and I think even before Drive to Survive really repopularized F1, I can't be wrong on this, probably wrong on this, but again, this is very checkable through like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. But it wouldn't surprise me if Lewis Hamilton was bigger than F1.
No, yeah,
or is still.
He has more followers on Instagram than F1. So he's known by people that don't watch F1. Yeah. So no, he's the GOAT. He's a superstar. What about Russell? Georgie Porgy.
Oh, dear old Georgie Porgy. I actually said next. That's the word I associate with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think he's going to be the next superstar?
I think he's going to be the next superstar. I don't think he's going to be the next GOAT, and I don't necessarily think he's going to be the champion this year, but he is such a good, consistent driver. He is, at least from like interviews and from, post races and wins, he seems like a very decent person. I think he will be the next face of F1. Yep. Not just champion. I think he will be the face of F1 for the foreseeable future. Or for in the future.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be the face, but he's definitely part of that. I mean, I have more to say on that later, but he's definitely part of that new generation. That's they're very talented. They've been racing for a while. My word for George Russell was intelligent. He's very prepared. He knows what he has to do. He does the hard work in and out of the car, right? So you can kind of see that, and he's really skilled, really cool-headed in his interviews and stuff. So yeah, I think he's a really good dude, and obviously going from Williams, which is a backmarker team, to now Mercedes, which is a front runner team. I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, actually, another word just before we go over that I do have for him that I was considering is also consistent.
Okay.
He is one of the most consistent drivers, and it's obvious when you look at it during the qualifications. Yeah. Very consistent driver.
Yeah, he's a good qualifier. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. So Williams, I'll go first for this one. So the word I picked for Williams was rebuilding, because Williams is a storied team. They've won drivers and constructors championships in the past, and they're one of the most successful teams, independent as well. But obviously, over the last few years, they've kind of had a bit of a downslide, and by all accounts, they seem to be on the come up as well. So they're still a backmarker team, but they're definitely doing what they need to be able to compete in the midfield and hopefully fight for more points. So I had rebuilding.
Yeah. I had for them, actually, it's somewhat similar to yours in a different framing. It's risk takers, because I was looking at Williams more and throughout their entire history, and they've always seemed to me as a team that always is the one to take big risks and sometimes get big rewards and sometimes don't, right? Yep. They pioneered independence. Yeah, they pioneered, I believe it was active suspension.
Yeah, I
right?
believe so.
And that became popular until they banned it, right? If you look at their steering wheel unit, it's the only different one. Everyone else has the screen on the steering apparatus. So when they move the screen moves with it. Theirs is actually separate. Theirs is actually attached to the car.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not as big fan of that wheel design in particular, but no, I know what you mean. It just I think that's good. So for the drivers, so the first one I have is Alex Albon, and the word I have for Albon is redemption, because he was with Red Bull before. He got sacked because he just couldn't stack up to Max Verstappen, which is a hard task to do. But obviously Red Bull seemed to have that faith in him. They kept him around for last season when he wasn't racing. And when the seat opened up at Williams, Red Bull, fought to put him in there. And now he has another chance at F1, which not many drivers get. So, I'm hoping for the best for Albon. But yeah, redemption is the word I have for him.
Yeah. Actually, mine's not too far off it, and it's going to sound maybe bad as soon as I say it, but I can't explain it, which is unfortunate. And the reason I say that is because I feel that he has been um, given not enough opportunity to really show himself off, and the times he had, you know, things happen to him that were out of his control.
Yeah, like Lewis not like running him out and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I don't think he was given a fair chance to really show himself, even though yes, he had the time. Like he raced for Red Bull for like a year and a half, I believe. Yes, he had a lot of time, but he never really had the opportunity, in my opinion, to really show him off. Like, yeah.
No, we'll kind of keep going because I know it's easy to get caught up on these things, and there's still a little ways to go. But the next driver for Williams is King Latifi. And I mean, I know this isn't going to sound like maybe super great and stuff. I like Latifi, but the word I have for him is kind. I think he's a good dude. In terms of driving and stuff like that, he's pretty average. And obviously the coverage doesn't like the TV feed doesn't cover him a whole lot. So it's usually kind of hard to see how he's doing. But I think he improves a lot over the years. He's definitely, in my opinion, earned his seat at Williams. And he just seems like a really good dude, like he's a good homegrown Canadian. So shouts out to you, King Latifi.
Yeah. Mine is actually, you've said it, it's King. And besides the meme, of course, which, King Latifi, it's the first thing that comes to my head. I fully agree with you. He has shown that he is a capable driver. He's shown that he can actually compete, right? He's led laps. He's fought. So I don't think, yes, there are other racers that are better than him that are in F2. But I think he's proven that he deserves to be here, and he can fight.
Yeah, he belongs in the paddock.
Yeah. I don't think it would be right to kick him out. So yeah, my word is King. Yeah, okay, that's true.
Cool. All right. So give us Aston Martin. I'm a fan of Aston Martin, so.
And you're not going to like the word I chose for it, but stumbling.
Okay.
That's the word I chose for it. Because whenever I think of Aston Martin, whenever I see them race, that's what I see happening. And they're stumbling. They're a team that they want to go up into the higher and higher and higher. They want to get more points. They want to be number one. But they always just seem to have something that doesn't quite let them.
You know what I picked for them?
What?
Inconsistent. Pretty much for the same reasons that you said. It's hard to know if they're going to be good or not, even before when they were Racing Point, right? It was just a bit of a toss-up.
Yeah. It seems like it's a bit of an institutional issue more than anything else.
Yeah, well, hey,
just saying. I'm just saying.
With Lawrence Stroll, hopefully he gets that. He gets them in order because he seems like a tough dude.
Yeah, and I'm not blaming Lawrence Stroll or anyone in particular specifically. I just think it's something even before Lawrence Stroll was there. Something about that team is is making the team a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, that's fine
compared to everyone else.
So, what about the drivers?
So for Seb, in my opinion, the main driver of Aston Martin.
Yeah.
I actually said Sunset.
Okay.
I think he has had a fantastic career, but similar to Raikkonen, he is in his sunset ages.
The sun is setting.
I would love to see him, win a championship but he's an Aston Martin, a team that's inconsistent, that's stumbling. I don't see him winning a championship as much as cool as that would be. I don't see him, doing better and better and better and better, like say Carlos Sainz is in his points. I see the sun setting on the empire that was Sebastian Vettel.
Fair enough. The one I picked for him has to do a little bit more with his with what he does outside the track, but I have ambassador because I think he is the best ambassador of the sport. Like Lewis is the face, but I mean I'm just kind of crushing on Seb right now, but I think he's the most wholesome of all the drivers.
Absolutely.
He wears his heart on his sleeve. He stands up for what he thinks is wrong. You know what I mean? Like he's not afraid to use his voice for positive reason. And he puts his money where his mouth is. Like he'll go out and actually do stuff. And he's very humble. So I actually think that both him and Hamilton have that like personality, which is they will say
their opinion. They'll state their opinion on something and they'll
Yeah.
stick by it.
Yeah.
But I agree that Seb is definitely the one who's, I'm not going to say more opinionated, but who takes more stances on more things.
Yeah, and he doesn't have social media, right? So he doesn't
No.
he's quiet about it. Like, he just does it because it's right. So
Yeah.
shouts out to you, Seb. I love you.
Come join us.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have you on. All right, so what
Yeah.
about our buddy Lancelot Vancelot?
This is the one who, no matter how hard I could think of a word, I couldn't think of something. So I just put yes from that famous Lance Stroll. Is everything all right? Yes. And then immediately crashes. I'm sorry, Stroll. You are a driver. I don't have, I'm not going to say anything mean to you. I think you're a good person. I don't want to comment negatively on your F1 career, and I'll leave it at that.
See, I put him as shy. That was the word I picked, because with the media and interviews and stuff, you can tell he's a bit shy. He's a bit reserved. So you're never really going to see, I guess, the real side to him. I think in terms of driving, I think he's fine. I mean, I know he gets a lot of hate, but he's also like one of those like signs where he's just been consistently improving, right? Obviously his dad owns the team, so a lot of hate comes there because his seat is basically secured.
And if I'm not wrong, he's the last Williams driver to get a podium. I think I'm actually right on that.
No, well, Russell, Spa, 2021, Russell. But yeah,
that's true.
Before
Russell,
so
I don't think he's a bad driver. He's just, to me, again,
he's average. He's average.
He's average.
Another Canadian boy, so shouts out to you, Lance. No hate.
Absolutely.
No hate here.
No, none at all.
All right, so I'll move on to Alpine, which is the next team. And Alpine used to be Renault.
I actually think you skipped a team. McLaren.
Yeah, I did actually. So McLaren. Funny. Yeah, I guess in my notes I had it a little bit further down, but yeah. So for McLaren, the word I picked was papaya, because that papaya color is just everywhere. Like, good on McLaren for the branding, because I can't think of McLaren and not think of that papaya colored vehicle and just theme in general. No, they're also one of the. I think they're going to be one of the stronger teams this season.
I fully agree with you. Yeah, my word is impressive, because that's all I've ever been with McLaren in the last few years. They weren't doing too well, 3 seasons ago, but they are the only team I really think I see becoming better and better and better and better. Yes, Red Bull, got to the performance where they took it from Mercedes, at least, Max from Hamilton. But it's not like Red Bull was like lower down and had to really like scrape and fight to get back up. Yes, Ferrari was also one of the top 3 there. But McLaren, in my opinion, from when I started watching F1, which was 3 years ago, and I just realized that, I've always seen them just consistently be better.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
So for Lando Norris, who is the golden child of McLaren, the word I picked was focused. He's a young dude. I think he's only like 22 years old, right? But the guy's mentality and just racecraft and his willingness to put in the work is impressive. But he's also funny. I think he's pretty relatable just in terms of his personality.
Absolutely.
So focused is what I have for him.
True. I actually have Young, and I think he's a really good driver. I think he has a very successful F1 career ahead of him. I still see him. When I think of Lando Norris, when I really think of Lando Norris, especially when it comes to racecraft, I think of Russia. I think of Sochi. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, all the blame isn't on him, but I think he's still young. He still has a lot to learn. I think he still has a lot to improve. And I think I don't know him personally, but I don't think he'd necessarily disagree with me, because I think even after that interview, he said he had something like he could have made this. I'm not going to speak on his path for.
No. We kind of have to move on for the next ones, because we got to try to fit this within the time frame. But the next driver for McLaren is Daniel Ricciardo. I put down hilarious. I think he's the funniest driver. Like he's so
Yeah.
funny. Like he's so skilled, and it's hard when picking one word, right? Like some of my
Yeah.
choices are either race related or non-race related, but
Yeah.
Ricardo as a personality, he's the funniest
It's
guy,
Oh yeah. I agree.
and
No,
like
for me it's
genuine,
Shui.
very genuine.
Genuine. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
Shui.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I think of Ricardo, I think of Shui's.
Want to explain what a Shui is for those in the audience that aren't fully aware?
Yeah. So after a long race, when you're all sweaty and you're Australian, I guess,
And
or
in the
at least
podium,
near
and on the podium.
in the podium, and you win, you get a bit of champagne, you pour it in your shoe, and you drink champagne out of your shoe.
Yeah,
It's
and
disgusting.
That's Danny Rick's like MO.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Shouts out Danny Rick.
All right, let's try to see if we can get through the next few a bit faster. So
yeah. So from Alpine, go for it.
Yeah, so Alpine's the one as the next one. When I think of Alpine, I think of a void. I don't have an opinion on Alpine. Alpine is this black hole to me in F1 where I can't predict anything. I don't know if they're going to be good. I don't know if they're going to be bad. They're just kind of there. It's like a black curtain over the future.
Right. For me, I agree, and I don't expect them to be competitive this season just based on what I've seen. But it's two words, but it's El Plan. Just mostly for the meme, like you did with King Latifi, right? It's
of course
El Plan. Like obviously they have big ambitions to sort of become a stronger engine provider because, as I mentioned, they are Renault, like the engine.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. Again, I have that 5 years to become an F1 champion in F1 2020.
Exactly.
For 2021.
So, El Plan for me.
Yeah. Fair. So for the first racer is the Minister of Defense, Fernando Alonso. May he defend Spain. And my word for him is defense. I mean, he is the Minister of Defense. He is the only one who kind of did that giant defense for Hamilton that was utterly impressive. Yes, I know Sergio Perez also did it, and he's also the Minister of Defense for Mexico, but his was better, in my opinion.
Yeah, so for Alonso, I put skilled, because I think he's the most skilled driver of all of them. He's 40 years old, the experience, plus the skill, plus the ability to keep up, right? Everybody thought he was going to be washed out. No.
Absolutely. He's definitely the most skilled. He might not be the fastest, but he is the most skilled.
Yeah. I would encourage people to look at old Alonso clips and stuff too, because skilled is what I have.
Yeah. So. And then for me, for the other one is Esteban Ocon. I put hardworking because honestly, I just see this guy always like going as hard as he can. I really don't think I've really seen him just like throw the rag out. It's right. He did win. He won a race. He won. He came first on the podium. He's never like. Yeah, I know. But I don't know.
See, finish your thought.
But yeah, he's just been really hardworking. He's a really hardworking racer.
I put humble for Ocon for the same reasons as you. I mean, I know he comes from a humble background compared to some of the other drivers, right? And I agree. You know, he puts his helmet on and he gets to work, right? He doesn't complain too much. I mean, okay, well, everybody complains, but like he puts in the work. He deserves to be where he's at. I know there was a period where he was kicked out of a seat. He lost a seat and then gained it again, right? So he's taking that second chance. And he just seems like a really, really humble dude. So I'll move on to the next one, Haas. So I know that's your team. And the word I picked for Haas was struggling. Just struggling in terms of obviously like finances and sponsorships. They've had bad sponsorship deals in the past with Rich Energy.
Really bad ones.
I mean, even now the Uralkali, right? They've dropped it. And they're a smaller cap team. So they've always they had a strong first year and they've kind of struggled ever since.
No, I fully agree. Mine is actually hopeful. Not for the exact same reasons that you said. They've been struggling, but I'm very hopeful that, you know, they can actually I don't even want to say get all their just get more organized. I think they're fairly organized. I just think they've had such a hard time. Yeah. I'm just hopeful that Haas can actually do well.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So the first driver for Haas, Mick Schumacher, so the son of Michael Schumacher.
Yeah,
And for him, I put potential
yeah,
because obviously I don't think anybody expects him to be Michael. Like he is not going to be Michael, right? Like
no,
he's Mick and he's going to
yeah,
do
yeah,
Mick things. But I
yeah,
think he's got the potential to be a really really good driver. Not a goat in my opinion, but he'll be there for a while and he'll get race wins and he'll
yeah.
drive for Ferrari. He's got the potential.
It might even be a champion.
Yeah, well, I hope so. It'd be awesome to
Yeah,
see.
yeah. My word's actually the same for Haas. It's hopeful. He's a hopeful. He's has a lot of potential. It's just very early on for him, and he's not on
Yeah,
the best team.
yeah,
You know, I
exactly.
want to see what happens when they put him in a Ferrari or a Red Bull.
Well, we'll just see how he improves from his rookie year last year to now, right? That's going to be a
Oh
good
yeah,
indication of what he can do.
yeah, yeah.
And then the other driver, Nikita Mazepin, uh, spin. No, I'm
Spin.
kidding. I'm kidding. Well, that was a bit of a joke, but the actual word that I had for him was controversial.
Mm,
Just his entrance to F1 was controversial. He's had
yeah,
controversial moments, such as when he groped that girl like last
yeah,
year, 2 years ago, or whatever. Right when he joined, the whole Uralkali thing now, right? So he's just been a controversial driver. Definitely not the most popular on the grid.
yeah. There's
I'll
that
leave it at that.
Mexico fiasco where I think they filmed him being like overly drunk. Can't quite remember.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was mine for him.
Mine is actually it's a compound word. It's hard time. Like I think he's had a really hard time. He's had a lot of controversy, yes, but I think a lot of it has been undeserved. I think it was very much the meme at the start of haha, let's get on let's all bandwagon against Mazepin. And I think he's just had a really hard time in F1 and I hope he you know, things go better for him.
Well said.
Yeah.
All right. So
All
next
right.
one, hit us
So
with it.
yeah, so the next one is the Alfa Romeo team. And when I think of Alfa Romeo, I think of issues. And I think this is very clear when you were looking at their pre-test, at their testing this in Barcelona. It's just issues. I don't have as many nice thoughts for Alfa Romeo as I do for Haas.
Yeah, for I picked the word backtracking because they take one
Yeah,
step forward, like three steps back is what it seems.
yeah, no, yeah.
So yeah,
I think
definitely I don't have a
they
lot to
definitely have
say
to
on them.
improve.
Yeah, agreed, agreed.
No, yeah. And then for the first racer, the main racer, the very clear main racer is Valtteri Bottas,
Valtteri
which is
Bottas.
bullied. I think he's been
Oh,
bullied. I
okay.
think I think he was mistreated over at Mercedes, and I really hope that he's doing a lot better now. But I think he had a really hard time over there.
So what I picked, and I know he wasn't a big fan when Toto said it, and I picked this word not for the same reason, but wingman. And the only reason is because I was just trying to pick one word associations, right? But the reason why I picked
Yeah,
wingman is because I thought he was the best teammate any driver could have had while he was at Mercedes with Lewis. Like the guy
I
was
think he might have been
selfless and
the
he
best teammate.
sacrificed ever.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like he
yeah. I think he might have
sacrificed
been the
potential wins
best
and
teammate in
championships.
F1 ever.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, and the next person is Zhao.
Yeah. Guan Yu
Yeah,
Zhou,
and
rookie, first
Guan
Chinese
Yu Zhou.
F1 driver.
Yep. And the word I have from is unknown. I know he's and someone did an analysis of his F1 like coming up to F1 career, so his F2 career and the previous circuits he did before that. He's similarly scored to what's called Latifi. So I'm assuming in skill level he's going to be similar to Latifi in his first year. But I haven't followed him prior to F1. I've never seen him race prior to F1 really. So it's just a big unknown. I really hope
Yeah.
he does well.
He won Monaco in F2, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But the word I picked for him was money. Brings a lot of money to the team. I think like 60 million, I want to say euros a year or pounds a year, but 60
It's probably
million
going to be in euros.
monies a year. So, which Alfa Romeo needs. But yeah, kind of like you.
Yeah.
He's brand new. I haven't seen him too much in junior categories, so I don't really have too much more to say other than, yeah, he's new and he brings money.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, next team, we got three more. Alpha Tori. the word I picked for AlphaTauri is developmental, because they're the Red Bull sister team, and their
Yeah,
whole shtick is just to develop the young drivers from the Red Bull Academy and the Red Bull program, right? So
yeah.
they're punching above their weight, but they're a developmental team.
I actually have basically the same word, which is second, which is their Red Bull's second team. They're where they just put whoever isn't the top two best Red Bull drivers there, right?
Yep.
They I think this is really clear when you saw the whole Albon Gasly thing, where
Yep.
Gasly wasn't performing, Albon was in AlphaTauri. They switched them.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
And then so speaking of Gasly, because he's their main driver now in AlphaTauri since that switch, the word I picked for him was perseverance. I think, Gasly's one of my favorite drivers on the grid, not just because of his skill, his racecraft, but also because his ability to persevere through tough times, I think is really exemplary, right?
Yeah.
Especially considering, he got booted out of the main team to the sister team, and I think within a week or within a days, like his best friend Antoine Hubert was killed in an F2 race, in a big crash, and he's just worked hard, been able to, and he does it with a smile, and he's just a nice guy, right? So really admirable. Shouts out Pierre. I see you on Instagram always, so you better like some of our posts.
Yeah, mine is Instagram addict. No, I'm actually kidding. It's shafted. I think he's been shafted. I think he was. If for me, Albon was given an unfortunate set of circumstances, Pierre Gasly was given an even greater amount of unfair situations. He definitely deserves to have a second chance at Red Bull. That being said, I don't want either Max or Sergio Perez to leave, but he definitely deserves. He definitely deserves better than what he's had so far.
We can talk a little bit about that in the cool down lap, but because I do have some points for that. And then the second driver is Yuki Tsunoda. Freaking love Yuki. Shouts out Yuki as well. The word I picked was adaptive, because he had a great junior career, and he came from Japan to Europe, like F2 2 years ago, I think. Had never raced in Europe before, and did really well, like earned his seat for F1. So I think he's only been racing in Europe for like 3 years tops. Tracks that he'd never seen before, got used to. But I think he's still, weak season last year, but it was his rookie season, and I think he's definitely improved.
He had a over the strong ending.
That's what I mean, right? So I have him as adaptive. I think he's
I actually have him as next. I think that Yuki, for exactly everything you said, right? He came from Japan. I don't think he had the greatest familiarity with European tracks. We might actually see him do really well in Suzuka if that's a track he's familiar with, which I presume he probably is. I think he had a really weak rookie career, purely because he's just not as comfortable with the tracks as everyone else is. I haven't followed his career. Perhaps he actually does know all these tracks, but
he will know them, but he just wouldn't have as much time or experience on them as some of the other guys.
So I think he's actually going to do, if he stays around long enough, I think he actually has the potential of being a champion.
Hey, fair enough. Fingers crossed for him. All right, 2 teams left. Red Bull, go for it.
Red Bull. For Red Bull, I have champion. This is pretty obvious. They're the driver champion. They developed the driver champion. They, in my opinion, had the best team, not necessarily the best car, just the best team last year. I think they are champions. I think Horner deserves it. I mean, Horner is the greatest troll of all time. So,
yeah, fair. Well, I kind of, in relation to that, the word I picked for Red Bull was savage, because they're hardcore, man, in the way they treat their drivers and stuff. And I'm not saying that like to paint it in a bad light, but they're very they have high strict expectations. They're very demanding of the drivers, right? Like they want the best extracted from all aspects, right? Which goes to what you said. That's why they're champions, and that's why they're such a good team. But they're definitely savage. They have savage moments, and Christian Horner is a savage. So
no, absolutely. I think Christian Horner is one of my favorite team leads. That whole,
Mercedes thing, the
Mercedes factory. Yeah.
You guys are not sure, listen to the very first episode. Little shameless plug. Kind of talk about that.
Yeah. And then for Max, same word, champion. Max right now is the champion, is the it's one of the best drivers currently racing. I think
I think
just
he's the
in
best
sheer
right now. So
yeah, right. Lewis is the GOAT, but Lewis is the GOAT throughout his career.
yeah,
At
yeah,
the moment, I think it's Max.
yeah.
And I really hope for him to have a really good year.
Yeah, I put aggressive,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about his
Mm.
father, but aggressive as like his driving style. He's really aggressive. He's uncompromising, but it's good, right? Like he's so fast. Like he's not afraid to get his elbows in, get down and dirty with other people, and overtaking and defending. So I think he
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
for a really good spectacle, and I mean the skill is just there to see. So aggressive,
Oh,
but
yeah.
like not him personally, just the driving.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I kind of already alluded to Sergio Perez's what I think of him, which is defense. He's definitely the Mexican,
Not
the Minister of
tire
Defense for
whisperer.
Mexico. Not Tire Whisperer, not what was the other one? It was Tire Management Center.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, but no, it's definitely 100% defense. That what he pulled off in Abu Dhabi, holding Hamilton the way he did, that level of aggressiveness, I only see in taxi drivers in Colombia.
Well said. Well
No,
said.
yeah,
Well, since you
but no,
mentioned that, well, okay, finish your thought
yeah,
because
but no, he is. My respect for Sergio Perez grew so much seeing that. That was some of the best racing I think I've seen in F1. That's not at the level of, Alonso's, but Alonso's was longer and was more impressive because how long it was, but just in the duration, I think that was
yeah.
just it blew it out of the water.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so similar to what you said, and I kind of picked this word based more on his performance the last year
Mm,
rather than his time in like Force India, like Racing Point and stuff. I just put selfless. He was a really good teammate last year.
mm.
Max wouldn't have been able to win the championship if it wasn't for a lot of the effort that Checo put into the season, and for example,
Yeah,
like
there's
Abu
no
Dhabi,
chance.
like that defense, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
I just have him as selfless. I think he's grateful to be in that position with a top team, and he's making the most out of it.
yeah, no, absolutely.
And then finally, the last ones I saved, the best for last were
Yeah,
watermelons, Ferrari,
of
and the
course.
word I picked for Ferrari is legends. I mean, they've been there from
Yeah,
the beginning. They are the team everybody recognizes. Like everything about Ferrari is just legendary, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. No, for me, it's exciting. I think whenever I see Ferrari, whenever anything comes up for Ferrari, it's always exciting. Like
They're
it's
just so
never,
magical.
yeah, it's something about that color. It's they just have
Everything.
something. It's that they put a little bit of a sparkle of like magic on every little component they do.
It's the sparkle in Mattia Binotto's eyes when he speaks to the camera that just
Yeah,
it speaks to me.
that's exactly what it is.
And then so for Leclerc, Charles Leclerc, the first one. I have him as stupid. He is stupid. No, that's just a joke. If you guys want to listen to his Azerbaijan radio message, you'll know what I mean. I have
Yeah,
him as fast. I mean, I know there's maybe not the most flashy word, but he's just fast, man. Like this guy drives over the limit of what his car
yeah.
can do every time, and he's so
Oh yeah.
skilled, so young.
Mine is basically the same as yours. Mine is speed. This man is all about speed.
Yeah, Charles is
Yeah,
speed, literally.
yeah, yeah. I think this is really obvious if you look at his Monaco crash, right? Like that entire what's it called qualification was him pushing the car as hard as he could in a track that should not have been pushed that hard,
Yep.
and he did it so well.
And then the last driver, Carlos Sainz. Shouts out to you, Carlos. My word is
Yeah,
smooth, and you know why? Because you know what he is.
he's,
He's
he's a
a
smooth
smooth
operator.
operator. Yeah. So yeah, I
No,
think he's just. I mean, I think he's the driver right now that's been through the most teams. Well, maybe not some of the older guys that have had more time, but in the last couple of
yeah,
years, Carlos has moved around from Toro Rosso, which is AlphaTauri now, to Renault, to McLaren, and now Ferrari. And he just gets better each time. Like he just adapts to the new car, to the new system, and boom, fighting for points. So
yeah,
yeah, I think
yeah.
he's really underrated, and I'm excited to see what he does this year.
Yeah, mine's actually to a very similar point. Mine's Chad. I think he's the most Chad of everyone. And it's for all the points you just said. He always gets better. He's just the Chad.
Yeah. So I mean, those are all the teams and drivers. Hopefully, everybody kind of had some fun with that. And if you guys have any word association for the teams or the drivers, let us know. Send us a message, right? Because we'd love to hear what you guys think of each team and driver. And then hopefully for those of you guys that are just learning a little bit about F1, kind of getting into it, hopefully it gives you a good idea of at least what we think of the teams and drivers.
Yeah.
But let's move to the cool down lap now, because I mean that main race topic took a little bit longer than I expected. So for the cool down lap, I just kind of wrote down the drivers whose contracts are ending in 2022. So to kind of just speculate what the driver market is going to be like at the end of this season, even though I know it hasn't even started. So I'll just name the drivers whose contracts are ending in 2022, and then we'll see, Nico, what you think, what kind of moves you want to see or you think is possible. So we have Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Lance Vance Stroll, Seb Vettel, Guan Yu Zhou, Latifi the King, Alex Albon, Mick Schumacher, and Nikita Mazepin. So, I mean, we won't go through all of them, but just what do you think are going to be the biggest movers? Who do you think is going to change teams?
Who do I want to, or who do I think? Because those are two very different.
Who do you think?
Okay. I think
Gasly
honestly,
moves teams. I think Gasly won't stay at AlphaTauri. I think
Gasly ought to just move.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Stroll, Tsunoda might stay. I think Stroll might go.
Why would Stroll go? Well, his dad owns Aston Martin. That's the one. Actually, I think he's a lock. Like I wouldn't even mention.
I disagree. I think that Lawrence wants a good team, and I think he's willing to sacrifice his son's career to make the team better. But I also don't know Lawrence, so maybe Stroll, not.
Modern day Agamemnon. Shouts out Iphigenia for those who know.
See, I really can't see it. It might be a bit too early for the season for me to really speculate, but I can't see any of these drivers really leaving.
I can tell you, Guan Yu Zhou, I think he'll leave. If Alfa Romeo kind of gets their stuff in order, I mean, he's there for the money. No offense to him, because I think he's skilled, and that's why we need more teams in general, right? Like 10 teams isn't enough. But Theo Pourchaire is, I mean, the writing is on the wall. Like everybody knows, Theo Pourchaire is going to be an F1 racer, and I think he'd replace Zhou. He only has a 1-year contract, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and then Vettel, depending on how Aston Martin performs, I can see him not re-signing.
Yeah, this is why I said that I'm not sure like what I want or what I think, because what I'd like is for example, for Gasly to move, and I think Tsunoda to stay. I think Alonso might be done. I think.
I don't see Alpine being strong this year. So.
Yeah, and I think Stroll also. I think he might be kicked. Zhou. I think he might be replaced out, and Vettel too. I think he like I said, he's in sunset ages. I think he should. Not what he should. I'm not going to tell him what he should or shouldn't do, but I think he's definitely at a point where if he were to retire now, he would retire with
his head held high,
almost like. Yeah, exactly. Like. I would hate to see a season where he's last.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll see about Perez as well. I don't know about him, honestly. He's a 50-50. He could sign another year, or they could just bring Gasly back.
I think he's probably going to sign. Oh yeah, and then Mazepin, I'm not sure. Again, with the current sanctions, with the loss of his dad as a major sponsor, I don't know what's going to happen with them. I think Schumacher is probably fine, and. We will refrain from talking further until the next part, and then I think Albon also might be a maybe stay, maybe go, and Latifi, and I think Latifi might actually leave because it seems like Williams has, that they have the conglomerate or the corporation that bought them. I'm not entirely sure what's the corporate structure. So they seem to be having a lot more money, and I don't think they might need that Canadian money anymore.
Okay.
So I could see Latifi also being booted.
we have our predictions down. At the end of the year, we can go back to this and see how we did. If you guys have, we want to hear what you guys think about the driver moves for 2023. Who do you think is going to stay? Who do you think is going to go? Who do you want to go to which team? Definitely let us know. Send us an email at aroundthepaddockpodcast@gmail.com or on Instagram,
you can tweet at us.
Around the Paddock Podcast, Twitter, ATP_pod. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Yeah, YouTube as well. Shouts out YouTube.
Yeah.
So shunt of the week. Finish it off for this week. But what do you got for the shunt of the week?
That's as much as I said, hard time. I think the shunt of the week has to go to the rumors surrounding whether or not Mazepin will leave or not. Now, this isn't a shunt at Mazepin. This is mostly a shunt at everything surrounding it, right? The media frenzy with
journalists, like the rumor mill.
It's nothing on Mazepin. It's like, in terms of the business wise, it's like it wouldn't make too much sense to keep him when there's other really, really good racers that has signed. If they're no longer getting any money from him, Uralkali is no longer a sponsor anymore, and the UK is not permitting any Russian licensed drivers, so Mazepin wouldn't even be able to race in the UK. It at least for me, business sense wise, it makes more sense to drop him and then have another racer, who could bring a sponsor with them.
Yeah, I just hate the rumor mill, man. Just wait till the team comes out with a statement, right? It doesn't matter what I think of somebody, but I can kind of get in Mazepin's shoes and just being on the internet and seeing that, that's demoralizing, right? It can't be good for your mental health. So I hate that.
And a good part of it, and a good part of it isn't speculation isn't bad. If people are like, oh well, will he come, will he go, we don't know.
Well, that's what we're doing
now. The part that really
right?
annoys me is but the part that really annoys me is when they're like, he will leave, confirmed, maybe, or right? Because I know on Twitter someone said, oh yeah, he's already set to leave. You could be actually a leak of something that we heard or not. It's mostly just annoying, and I can't imagine how it must be for Mazepin, who maybe is in the dark, maybe isn't, maybe fine.
No, definitely not.
But seeing all these things is it's not good. So the shunt goes to the media.
Clickbaity rumors, don't like that. Don't do it.
No.
Cool, man. Well, I know this was a bit of a longer episode. We definitely, I had fun with the word association stuff, hearing what
I think that was really fun.
And definitely for everybody else that's listening, let us know what you guys think as well. Send us a message and engage. Our social media game is still hella weak, but just give us a little bit of time to get that in order, and we'll get it going. Don't you worry.
Yeah. And then the YouTube, all the episodes are now on YouTube. They're all live, so if you want to go watch it there, feel free to.
Yeah, we have plenty of places where you can listen to the podcast. Before we go, Nico, anything you want to say to the audience?
Yes, send us pictures of your dogs with Red Bull merch, and also buy Haas equipment, and tell Gunther to join the podcast. That's your homework for next week.
Yeah, there you go. That's your homework for next week. All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much again for taking the time to join us, listen to us ramble about F1. We'll see you next week. Peace out.
Bye.